All right. Well, let's bring up Brian Almon here if he's with us, and we can both watch this vote. Brian, good to see you.
I've been watching this one as well. The debate is really interesting and clarifying about how some people think about accountability for taxpayer funds.
Voted.
Yeah. And look, this is a no-brainer bill. Look at that. And you've only
changed their vote.
The usual suspects, Brian.
Thompson votes aye. Galaviz votes nay.
Where did Representative Rappel go? She was on the floor earlier.
One absent excused, already having voted in favor of House Bill 416. House Bill 416 is passed House. Correction title.
No correction to title.
Title's approved. Bill to be transferred to the Senate. Jump 22.
Yeah.
To the roll call
Very
used
good.
for suspension rule.
Looks like they're going to pull some more bills off the second reading calendar, trying to get as much done. Now, it's interesting the way they do that. They rearrange the calendar. They might have some bills ready on third reading, but maybe the sponsor's not ready, or maybe they don't have the votes whipped yet, or maybe they just oftentimes it seems like what they're doing is they're trying to get through the House bills first, so they'll go ahead and do some House bills that are sitting on the second reading calendar before they do Senate bills that are waiting on the third reading calendar. So not technically according to the rules, but no, that's why they suspend the rules.
Yeah, and it makes sense because you want to if you're getting towards the end of the session, you want to make sure you get all your business done and send it over to the other side so that they can finish their job. In some states they do what's called crossover day, where the House will be doing all of their House bills, the Senate will be doing all of their Senate bills. And once they pass each chamber, they stay in each chamber until crossover day, when they literally all the bills cross over, and then they do round two basically of their session and go through all those bills. Here in Idaho, it's back and forth, and it makes for a very interesting session. Well, back to that bill that just passed. I mean, I was surprised at how much debate was going on there. I mean, it was incredible. There you have the tally. I mean, you see the usual suspects, of course, the Democrats, who I think they used to like accountability and transparency. Apparently they don't anymore. But they whip in the usual suspects: Weber, Wheeler, Raybould, Nelson, Mickelson, Sauter, McCann. I mean, Garner, right? Oh no, Garner went green. Furryman. And they just go along with this narrative here.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, some of the debate against it was, we should do this for all the agencies. Why are we singling out education? And there's also debate saying, well, we can't put this in because they don't have the capacity or capability. Representative Church was saying that schools can't actually account the way we want them to account. And well, if that's true, then that's a problem, and they need to figure it out. Because this is, like Representative Harris said, this is allocated money. This is JFAC and the legislature coming in and saying, you can use this money for this purpose. And the schools just take the money, put it in a big pot, and use it however they want, apparently. Mm-hmm. And so the debate against this didn't seem, I mean, it wasn't convincing to me that this bill had those problems. It seemed like, as usual, people were looking for a reason to oppose a bill, and because they didn't want to say why they really oppose it.
Yeah. They don't, because then they'll get caught not being a Republican. I'm just saying. Okay. Well, that's what's going on now. They're obviously they're doing the rest of their bills. The Senate is doing their thing right now too. Anyway, let's talk about taxes though, Brian. There's been the big theme this year. The governor came in and said he wanted to provide $100 million in tax relief. And then Republican leadership came over the top and said, no, we want to do more, like 350, 400 million, 500, whatever it was. And so they've been passing these tax bills, and then they get signed. And then we have this trailer bill come through that seemed to just sort of like confuse a lot of people, and not really we're trying to figure out exactly what this trailer bill does. Is it going to delay these tax cuts? Is it going to raise taxes again, or are we going to wait? Like, it was very confusing. So Representative Ehlers, and therefore we had House Bill 412. The hearing for House Bill 412 happened this morning, but it was also brought with a new RS, meaning he was going to swap out 412 for another new version of this bill that would address these problems. what I want to do, and this was an entire presentation, and I think we deserve to listen to it, because I think he goes through each point of what this bill does. And I think we should do our due diligence and listen to it and see what this bill does. And like I said, it's a little bit of a longer clip here, longer presentation. So let's just sit back, listen to it, and then we'll come back on the other side, Brian, if you can, and just and wrap up the highlights from this, if you don't mind. Let's go, guys. Let's do it.
You're here to discuss House Bill 412 and routing slip 32715. And I'd like also, right off the bat, Mr. Chairman, if I could have permission to refer to pending legislation.
Permission granted. Go ahead.
Thank you. These two things together relate to taxation. And it's about taxation, some technical corrections, some clarification, and some cleanup. And I appreciate the work of those that have helped me with this. This is going to relate to some trailer bill to House Bill 40, which was our income tax relief, House Bill 304, which was our property tax relief, and House Bill 354, which was another tax policy bill. And I've worked with the sponsors of all those bills to craft this legislation. So what I'd like to do is walk through House Bill 412, and then I'll talk about the RS and the two differences on there. And then I'll take questions. So House Bill 412, the first page is just going back to House Bill 40, which is getting the definitions right around who gets the military benefits. It's having the same outcome. It just wasn't written as clearly in House Bill 40. This clears it up. Then if we go to page 4, this is some clear up and clarification the tax commission asked for. Sometimes accountants get creative or they get confused about when a tax year really starts. And so this adds language for when it's commencing on or after particular years and what that tax rate was for those particular years. So that's just adding explicit clarity around the income tax rates. If you look at page 5, then the other change here. So this is going to the statute of limitations, this one's specifically for sales tax. In most times, the statute of limitations in terms of when the tax commission could go back and audit you is 3 years. For some reason, if you hadn't ever filed a return, there was unlimited amount of time they should go back to. So this is just making it consistent with our other statute of limitations for tax returns. They can go back 3 years if you had a reasonable belief to think you didn't have to file tax returns. So it's not unlimited. And consistent with paragraph B above it, if it's fraudulent, as already in code, they can continue to go back and look. So that doesn't change. We'll go to page 7. This is a little clarification for something we've worked on in the past around when the tax commission can charge you interest if they're auditing you. And the goal is when the ball is in their court, in the tax commission court, they shouldn't be allowed to tax you interest. You have no control over that. They can just hold on to it for a long time and charge you interest. So this just clarifies it that when the clock will start and stop, this is once they identify your return for a possible audit, then they can't just sit and hold it and charge you interest on that. We'll go now to page 8. This is really similar to the statute of limitations we talked about earlier, but this is for income tax. Once again, it's normally 3 years back that they can go look for audits. This makes that same limitation for those that haven't filed a return. And once again, the same thing for fraudulent returns that doesn't change. They can continue to go back if you've committed fraud. Next, we're going to skip a few pages because that's just, there's no changes on those. And we will go to, I think it's page 16. So this is just really an accounting reference. If you've watched the Economic Outlook Committee or been involved in JFAC, there's confusion between how DFM and the gentleman on the second floor's office puts a revenue number and how LSO looks at it with this $330 million. You know, is it in the gross revenue? Do you net it out? Do you add it back in? It's just created a lot of confusion. So what this does is it will make sure that DFM and LSO and all of us are speaking the same language when it comes to revenue. That it's going to be in the gross amount, and then the $330 million will be like any other expenditure appropriation. It will come out of expenditures. It keeps the language in there that it's still going to be spent, the $330 million, the same way for education, for public schools, educational support. If you look on page 16, lines 30 and 31, that is the same language as used in appropriation bills for public education. They call it public schools educational support. It's still going to stay in the base for education, in the base budget. And this is the same language used in Idaho Code 33-1002 about the public schools educational support program. So it will continue going to education. That's mostly just the way we account for it. And then if we go to page 17, this is where we're going to get into what the RS does. So this is about the property tax relief fund. And there was some confusion created here. I admit I didn't write the fiscal note on House Bill 14 as well. So in the RS, I've redrafted the fiscal note. And one of the changes in the RS 32715 is to add clarity around the property tax relief. So let's go to the RS, and you go to the very last page, RS 32715, page 18. For the property tax relief, this is really a timing of the budget. And there's confusion between the fiscal year and the calendar year. So fiscal year 26 starts actually July 1st, 2025, and it goes until June 30th, 2026. So the $100 million will be in fiscal year 26, but the $100 million property tax relief will actually occur in the calendar year 2025. That's how it was in House Bill 40. The tax relief was always going to come to the taxpayers. For those of you that aren't finance or accountant geeks, all you care about is when do I get my $100 million in property tax relief. It will, the $100 million, as promised in House Bill 40 for property tax relief, will occur in calendar year 2025. And this explicitly states that in writing, that this transfer will occur no later than August 31st of 2025. And so that $100 million, and I've talked to the people involved that need to transfer this money, will occur, and that gives it enough time to go to the local districts to be part of their budgeting process so they can get that property tax relief on your 2025 property tax bill. So that $100 million of property tax relief will occur this year. That's one of the changes in the RS. And then the last thing is a trailer to House Bill 354. Had some confusion there, but if you go to page 2 of the RS, here's the other change with the ratio in terms of market value. So it's tightening that up. 354 said you need to be within the range of 90 to 110. That's a 20 percentage point gap. This tightens this down to 95 to 105. This actually helps us as inconsistent. If you remember, we did House Bill 329 with the rate regulated utilities. And in that court case, it did reference that. It basically said, hey, if you were within the 5%, then this wouldn't be an issue. These lawsuits wouldn't be an issue. So it's consistent with that legislation that we passed as well. And so, Mr. Chairman, those are the changes. I would be happy to answer any questions. And I guess I should explain as well, our intent is having this public hearing on 4/12 and these couple of changes in the RS, that we would just hold 4/12 in committee. And
that's
the committee's
exactly
willing
what they
to
did,
introduce
folks. They held
RS.
that original bill, they passed the RS, and here we are moving forward. Brian, what's your take on this?
Goodness, my take is that tax policy is really complicated. But
then let's just get rid of them. Let's get rid of them all.
A lot of folks were very worried when the initial trailer bill 412 came out, saying that it shifted the property tax relief that we were promised for this year to the next year, which meant an entire year would go by where we don't get that property tax relief. But it sounds like, if that was the case in the original bill, that was an error, and they're fixing that, and we'll have it in calendar year 2025, which is fiscal year 2026, which, why do they do that? But that's a different story.
Yeah. And look, fiscal year, calendar year, those types of things, I guess when you're talking past each other or you're working with people, I guess those things kind of happen. Remember, this is the same body, Brian, that accidentally got rid of the presidential primary in this state. So, Yeah, accidentally. And again, everybody can sit back and come up with their own conspiracy theories about this. But this is the facts. I mean, this is where we're at right now, and so we'll see how this thing goes forward. Okay, very good. I know it was a bit of a trek to get through that, folks, but I think you'd rather just hear it right from the horse's mouth on this stuff. I think it's always impartial. It's better to be impartial in that sense by just watching what it is and then imparting your opinion on it afterwards. That's fine with me, but at least let's hear it out.
I just want to add that bill has been printed, so if you want to read the entire thing yourself or upload it to ChatGPT and have it summarize it for you, it's House Bill 435 now.
There you go, 435. Uploading bills to ChatGPT. I tried to get ChatGPT to give me a simple tally of some numbers, and it was wrong. So, it can help guide you, but it ain't certainly gonna pull that ship right into port every time.
Always remember Ronald Reagan: trust but verify.
Trust but verify. That's right. All right, Brian. Well, we're gonna head out of here. It's the Friday show, and we're hitting the bottom of the hour. But what are we working on? We're switching your articles to come out on Sunday because I like people to just sit back, relax, and read a nice Almon article on Sunday. So what do we got in the hopper, you think?
Oh goodness, there's a lot to cover. There's a lot that happened. I wrote on my platform yesterday about how the House killing some budget bills and what that might mean. I mean, one thing it means is that we're going to be here a while because they have to go back to JFAC for retooling. So there's all sorts of things we can cover. There was an RS brought up this morning in Senate State Affairs about abortion, wanting to clarify some of our laws and maybe tweak them a little bit. Stay tuned, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, very good. All right, folks, be sure to follow him, Gem State Brian. We got your stuff scrolling there on the bottom, so that's good. Have a great weekend, Brian.
Yeah, you too.
All right.